Hi, I'm Ash from DroningON, and this is part 2 of our OnagoFly 1 Plus review. In part 1, we fully unboxed and inspected this brand new drone from OnagoFly. We also compared it to its predecessor, the OnagoFly 1.0. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, click the link in the top corner to watch it now. We also promised to flight test the new OnagoFly 1 Plus, and we're going to do that next. But first, OnagoFly 1.0 was an Indiegogo crowd-funded project. It raised millions of dollars, funded by thousands of backers, and yet some of those backers are still yet to receive their OnagoFly. Those that have received it have struggled to get the thing to fly. For the new OnagoFly 1 Plus to be a success, OnagoFly must first resolve the situation with this crowdfund campaign. They need to either provide backers with an option to upgrade to the 1 Plus, they need to fix this, or they need to offer those backers a refund. So, OnagoFly, we urge you, please sort this situation out before you spend any more time and effort on the 1 Plus. Let's get this thing flight tested. Enjoy the review. So, on our way to the field now to test OnagoFly 1 Plus. The biggest problems with the original OnagoFly version 1.0 was the inaccurate GPS lock, the wobbly video, the bunny hopping on takeoff, and of course the worst case, the flyaways. So let's see if they've solved that in the new 1 Plus. Okay, so first thing we'll do is install the battery. So slide it in, click, yep, there we go, nice solid fitment. It's actually quite hard to get that battery out, so we might not be removing that again today. Next thing we want to do is turn it on. So, okay, so get my app fired up. There it is, please connect to OnagoFly. So now I'll turn on OnagoFly, making sure that it's on a flat surface, which this is as flat as it's going to get here. There we go. So it emits some beeps. We'll now see if there is some wireless to connect to. Turn on Wi-Fi. Searching for Wi-Fi networks, and there we go, connecting to OnagoFly. Lovely. We are connected. So now switch back to the app, and we've got enter the cockpit. And there we go, we've got a live feed. So we've not got GPS yet, we're waiting for that to lock, and obviously we're not going to do anything until we've got a GPS in orange. You can see the other controls of the app here, it's all pretty much the same as before, although now we've got joysticks which move depending on where your fingers are, which are really nice, so you don't have to be looking at the screen the whole time. Okay, we're not on gravity mode at the moment, we're on joystick mode, and we're going to leave it on joystick mode so that we can first of all test the GPS hover mode. So we're just waiting for a GPS lock now. Okay, it's telling us we've got GPS lock. Unfortunately, it's not telling us how many satellites are locked, but at least we've, well, OnagoFly app at least is telling us that it has sufficient satellites to be able to hover. So, press and hold the unlock button to start the rotors. There we go. And we're going to use auto takeoff, so that was also a bit of an unpredictable feature in the previous version. So let's see if that's been improved. Here we go. And we're up. Now, initially, I'm impressed. Before it used to just literally shoot off, but it's actually hovering very well. It's maintaining its position almost perfectly. If you look at the fact that we took off from where the bag is, and we're now a couple of meters away from it, agreed, but that's not bad at all. It does seem to be holding its position really, really well. I mean, this is a major progress since version 1.0, which literally, even if you stood and held it in the same position, it would want to move. Now we've got a bit of what's called toilet bowl effect here, which is where it gets itself into a rotating pattern. And this is a concern. Yeah, it looks to me like it's not going to recover from this. It's getting in a wider sweeping circle. Okay, it's slowed down now, but it is drifting considerably. It's a shame that it's not coming back to its original spot, and it looks like it's doing a... Yeah, it's actually landing itself now. That's not good. And it's powered down its rotors. That's really disappointing, actually. So first attempt there at GPS hover was quite disappointing, actually. The OnagoFly 1 Plus got itself into a toilet bowl rotating effect from which it didn't recover. It then landed itself and turned off. Let's try again. Okay, so second attempt now. Entering the cockpit. OnagoFly is in the same position on the rucksack, so we've got GPS, it's telling me. So unlock the rotors. Rotors are running. And auto takeoff again. So up we go. Looking fairly stable again. You know, this is how it started last time, perfectly, but it just went downhill when it started toilet bowling. We're looking good again, you know, this is looking really good. I suspect it's going to start toilet bowling again when it starts getting a little bit off its center, and it tries to correct, but it overcompensates and ends up in a rotation pattern. Okay, I don't want to use too much battery, so just whilst we're in joystick mode, I'm going to test a bit of flight. So, forward. Let's rotate it back towards us. So it's now facing us. Fly it towards us. Let's fly it over us. Okay, looking good. I mean, it's definitely far more controllable than it was, for sure. I think that hover may need a bit of work, but the actual flying characteristics of it are good. I'm not taking it any higher at the moment, though. It's much calmer than the old one as well. The flight is much slower, much more controlled. Okay, I'm going to quickly try tilt mode now, which is also known as gravity mode. So if we tilt it towards us, that's really good. You can see we're moving the phone. It's working really, really well. And tilt it back towards me, so it should come back towards us now. There it goes. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that works nicely. I'm not going to do too much on that, so I'm going to turn it off, back onto GPS hover mode. I'm going to try and let's bring it back to us now and try and go for a bit of height. Now I'm going to test return to home. This is one that we all want to know whether it works. So I'm going to fly it a bit further away. Okay, so it's over there now. And I'm going to press the return button. So fingers crossed, let's see what happens. So I've pressed return. It's turning around to face us. It actually is as well. It is coming back. Okay. It's now returned to where the rucksack is, so where it took off from. It's rotating again. And it is actually descending. Okay, you have to excuse my laughter and amazement here, but I am shocked that it works, because this is the one feature I didn't expect to work so well, but it really is. And it's landed. Okay, well that's great. Return to home, they have cracked. That is really, really impressive. Wow. Okay, before we drain the battery too much, let's take off again. So unlock. And auto take off again, which again seems to be working really nicely. We're up and hovering. So now I'm going to try follow me, which is a big feature that we all want to, you know, it's why we buy some of these mini quads. We want it to track us doing action sports and various other things. So I'm going to face it to me first. Okay, I'm going to get a bit more altitude as well. Take it away from us a bit. Okay. Now I need to get myself in shot. The way I'm going to do that, because this doesn't have a tiltable camera, is you've just got to keep adjusting the altitude and the distance away from you until you're in frame. Okay, now apparently OnagoFly tell me that we press the GPS button and that will start follow me mode. So let's see what happens. It should now be following us. Okay, it actually is following us. I've just turned around to see if that confuses it, but it hasn't. It has actually turned around and it's following us again. Unfortunately, whilst the OnagoFly One Plus does follow the smart device fairly well, the way in which it does so causes an exaggerated rocking movement forwards and backwards, which ruins the footage completely. OnagoFly need to rework the routine that the One Plus uses for flight whilst in this mode so that the footage produced is usable. I'm going to stop, take a shot of it and see what it does. And it's just staying there. Oh, we've got a low battery warning actually. Okay, so on low battery, I believe that it will return to home, but it's actually landing itself now. And there we go, it's landed itself, cut the props off. After the field test, I tested the GPS hover again and the toilet bowl effect did reoccur, triggered by light breeze which consequently causes the One Plus to overcompensate with its corrections. Hopefully OnagoFly can fix this via firmware and configuration changes to the flight controller. I also tested the OnagoFly's capability to return to its initial hover point if pulled out of it by me simulating wind. It did a pretty good job actually, far better than version 1.0. Flight time of the OnagoFly One Plus is about 8 to 10 minutes, and I suspect that OnagoFly may release a larger capacity battery for this model at some point in the future. As a test, I ran some of the onboard footage through stabilisation in Adobe Premiere, and the result was quite acceptable, although the One Plus severely needs onboard EIS, electronic stabilisation, as most users will not want to have to process the footage after capturing it. As with version 1.0, the One Plus also has a photo mode and the quality is very good. Unfortunately, however, the app still hangs very briefly as you switch between video and photo mode. During this switch, you are not able to control the drone, which is a real problem that OnagoFly must address. Okay, so judge for yourself. I mean, this is really all about expectations, but I would say that the OnagoFly One Plus is a massive improvement over version 1.0. This is only a basic test and I intend on testing it far more comprehensively, but version 1.0 was unpredictable. In fact, it was dangerous at times because it never did what you actually told it to do via the app. So far, this thing has done exactly as we've asked of it, except for the toilet bowl effect that we saw earlier during the GPS hover. But besides that, the follow me seems to work. It doesn't have a variable angle camera, so it can't look up and down and pitch like a gimbal of the Phantom or a Typhoon does. But for a fixed camera, it seems to be pretty good. Return to home worked. That was a real shock. I wasn't expecting that at all. Tilt mode worked as it did before. I never had any problems with tilt mode on the old version 1.0 actually. And when it hit low battery, it did just land. Now I don't know if it would have returned to home, but the fact that we were on follow me at the time meant that we were next to the OnagoFly with our phone and our app. So maybe that's where it assumed we wanted it to land there. So in summary, I'm going to be testing this a lot more. This is the first of probably a few videos, so be sure to subscribe, share, like and comment to let me know your thoughts on this test today. Thanks for watching.